Ginger Rogers was married 5 times and divorced 5 times, but were any of those marriages broken up by her partnership with Fred Astaire? Keep watching to find out. Ginger Rogers' fame had an early start and was possible all thanks to the dance craze of the 1920s, the Charleston. In 1925, the 14-year-old Rogers, then known by her birth name Virginia McMath, won a dance competition and was crowned Charleston Champion of Texas.
When I won this contest.
What kind of contest?
A Charleston contest.
The prize for winning the competition was a vaudeville contract. With the help of her mother, Ginger Rogers and her Redheads was born. Ginger was a nickname which came about when a cousin couldn't pronounce her given name of Virginia, while Rogers was the last name of her stepfather. She played vaudeville stages until 1929, eventually making her way to New York City. From there, a star was born. Dancing was sometimes painful, particularly alongside Fred Astaire, who was a notorious perfectionist. While filming Swing Time, Rogers coped with extreme foot pain. She wrote in her autobiography that she kept dancing even though her feet really hurt. At one point, she removed her shoes and they were filled with blood. "I had danced my feet raw," she explained. Producers recommended they stop filming, but Rogers wanted to complete the scene. They finally got what they wanted by 4 a.m. Astaire had a lot of confidence in his dancing partner. He once remarked that the other women he worked with over the years often cried because they didn't think they could make it through the routines. Rogers was the exception. According to the book Texas Entertainers, Lone Stars and Profile, Astaire said, quote, "No, Ginger never cried." Astaire, on the other hand, may have had to hold back some tears during the filming of the 1936 film Follow the Fleet. Ginger Rogers wore a stunning beaded gown that weighed over 25 pounds. The sleeves were also covered in heavy beads and had a tendency to hit Astaire in the face. Rogers admitted she was, quote, completely unaware that her gown was causing Astaire so many problems. He winced and was forced to physically move out of the way while she kept on dancing. Rogers, of course, became an icon by dancing with Astaire. Ironically, when they first met on a dance floor, she didn't know who he was.
I was from Texas. I had never heard of Fred Astaire. And so it didn't mean anything to me. That's why I guess I had such fun.
In addition to dancing, Ginger Rogers also had some impressive acting abilities. In 1940, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Kitty Foyle. Over the next few years, she devoted much of her time to polishing her comedy routines and working for the war effort. Like many celebrities of the time, she was prominently involved in the United States Service Organization and participated in rallies to help sell war bonds. In her book, Ginger, My Story, she said, quote, "We were all proud to do our part." All of Rogers' hard work and popularity paid off, as it resulted in the actress becoming the top-paid star in Hollywood in 1945. Her earnings were around $300,000, and she was the 8th highest moneymaker in America that year. Rogers was also career-savvy. Willing to change with the times, she transitioned to television in the 1950s. She appeared in several comedies, dramas, and variety shows, which were popular at the time. And she later returned to the stage, appearing in Hello, Dolly in 1965 and Mame in 1969, among others. Ginger Rogers famously dated celebrities such as Howard Hughes and Jimmy Stewart, but she was unlucky in love. She tied the knot 5 times, but none of them stuck. She was just 17 years old when she married her first husband, vaudeville dancer and comedian Jack Pepper. They split after 2 years together. She married her second husband, Lou Ayres, in 1934, but they divorced 6 years later. She also married actor Jack Briggs from 1943 to 1949, French actor Jacques Bergerac from 1953 to 1957, and actor-producer William Marshall from 1961 to 1969. Despite persistent rumors, however, it's unclear whether she was romantically involved with dancing partner Fred Astaire. Either way, Rogers wrote in her autobiography, "Yes, I have had some failed marriages, but I always loved being married. Caring, cooking, and being a companion with a husband were as natural to me as breathing." Despite all her relationships, Rogers never had children. Her personal assistant of nearly 20 years, Roberta Olden, told Fox News that one of the reasons why Rogers didn't have children was because she was so busy with her career. Olden also speculated that Rogers simply didn't find the right man to have children with. And while other women gave up certain things to have kids, Olden explained that Rogers enjoyed her career, so she focused on that instead. In 1936, Ginger Rogers became one of the first people to be named an admiral by the Texas Navy. What's the Texas Navy, you ask? Well, in the 19th century, it was a literal navy for the independent Republic of Texas. A century later, it had basically become a historical organization with ceremonial titles, kind of like the Kentucky Colonels. It was Texas Governor James Allred who made Rogers an admiral in the Texas Navy during the opening of the Texas State Fairground in Dallas. Rogers later wrote in Ginger, My Story, "I never knew Texas had a navy. Salute me, y'all." Ginger Rogers had her share of fashion moments over the years. She lived during a time long before social media influencers persuaded fans how to dress. However, she told the New York Times that when she wore a blue feather dress in the 1935 film Top Hat, feather sales skyrocketed. This cemented her status as a movie-style icon. Then, her 1940 film Kitty Foyle made white-collar dresses a hot commodity. She wrote in her autobiography, "I can never emphasize enough how important clothing was to me." That was one of the reasons why she decided to partner with J.C. Penney in the 1970s, serving as a fashion consultant from 1972 to 1975. Rogers handpicked clothes for the mail-order catalog and traveled around the states to help women find affordable but fashionable clothing options. The star developed a wardrobe for hundreds of stores in America. According to her book, she had a particular interest in lingerie. It was a big get for the department store because it had secured one of America's most popular Golden Age stars as their spokesperson. J.C. Penney executives chose Rogers as a representative due to her fashion knowledge and because they believed her famous gams would help the company sell pantyhose. The partnership made perfect sense because as a dancer, Rogers had kept her legs in top shape. Some celebrity watchers may be surprised to learn that Ginger Rogers not only played tennis but was a formidable opponent. In fact, she was such a good player that in 1950, the 39-year-old actress competed at the U.S. Open in a mixed doubles match with tennis player and actor Frank Shields, who today is most well known for being actress Brooke Shields' grandfather. At the time, Rogers was still a popular film star and had recently appeared with Fred Astaire and the Barkleys of Broadway, so it may have seemed odd that she was competing in a professional sporting event. There was reportedly some consternation over her participation due to her celebrity status. Even so, she was a skilled player who was good enough to qualify for the event. Her former assistant, Roberta Olden, told Fox News that Rogers was a very good tennis player. She initially played the sport alongside Hollywood legends such as Errol Flynn and Katharine Hepburn, but she was looking for a challenge, and she certainly got it at the tournament. Unfortunately, she and Shields lost to a much younger team. Rogers also competed in a celebrity tournament that took place in conjunction with the U.S. Open, but she and her partner lost before the final match. Around 1940, Ginger Rogers purchased a ranch in southern Oregon. According to her longtime assistant Roberta Olden, she loved the ranch because it was the perfect place to relax, and it was likely a good retreat from Hollywood. She spent her time there cooking, fishing, horseback riding, reading, and skeet shooting. Olden told Fox News, "She would let her hair down, wear no makeup, and just be a regular person. She loved that too."
It's very easy for me to go up to my ranch and can fruit.
The ranch was more than just a home for Rogers and her mother, who also resided there. Her ranch provided some support during the war effort as well. Its Guernsey cows produced milk for local army men at Camp White, which was home to approximately 25,000 soldiers during World War II. Rogers was even featured on the cover of Life magazine in 1942, with the article inside offering a glimpse of her life there. She and her mother lived at the ranch for over half a century before the star sold the property in 1990 and moved to nearby Medford, Oregon. Ginger Rogers' mother raised her as a Christian Scientist, and the religion was a huge part of her life. One of the ways in which she practiced her faith was by living a clean life without alcohol and avoiding the temptations that Hollywood had to offer. Her religion and relationship with God were part of her life both on screen and off. Rogers' longtime assistant Roberta Olden told Crosswalk.com that her faith was very important and that she knew that it was God's gift of goodness that shone through her performances. However, it wasn't always easy for Rogers to avoid the pressures of the industry. Privacy was difficult to attain because she was so famous, and not everyone understood her Christian beliefs. Plus, she endured several failed marriages and had other struggles that could have caused some people to quit Hollywood. Instead, she took refuge in her church and through prayer. Olden explained, "I don't think there was a day that went by when she didn't thank God for something." Due to her beliefs as a Christian Scientist, Ginger Rogers was one of those rare celebrities who neither smoked nor drank alcohol. She loved hosting parties but served cold, non-alcoholic drinks. Her favorite was ginger ale, and one of her favorite indulgences was ice cream sodas. So it's somewhat ironic that over the years she's had at least 2 different alcoholic beverages named after her. Of course, as one of America's most iconic movie stars, she's in good company, as there are drinks named after many other stars of Hollywood's golden age, including Shirley Temple, Charlie Chaplin, and Mary Pickford. The Ginger Rogers is simple to concoct and a pleasant summertime cocktail. Unsurprisingly, the ingredients include gin, ginger, and ginger ale, which not only pay homage to the star's famous name, but to her personal preferences as well. There's also a different version you can get at Disneyland of all places, though it too has gin as its base ingredient. Ginger Rogers was born in northern Independence, Missouri, a town that in recent years had made an effort to commemorate her achievements. But it wasn't always that way, and the star felt that she deserved some recognition. President Harry Truman, who spent decades living in Independence, planned a special event there for Rogers in 1964 after she complained that the residents celebrated his birthday but didn't commemorate hers. She was also honored at an event in town in 1994. The actress, who passed away in 1995, likely would have been pleased that in 2018 her former home, a registered historic landmark, was officially turned into a museum. Rogers and her mother lived on the property for 4 years, and the home was restored so it looked like it did when they resided there. The property also became the site of the Ginger Festival that year, which celebrated the life of a Hollywood icon. The money raised during the festival was allocated toward repairing the home's roof and upgrading the landscaping. The festival included the presentation of 2 Ginger Rogers films, a fan club meeting, and a presentation about the house. Unfortunately, the museum closed in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about your favorite stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.